Have all your tools and note-taking capabilities ready. Your event begins in less than 3 minutes.
Hi, everyone. Sorry about the slow start here today. I've got Kathy joining us. Hi, Kathy. Oh, my goodness. I'm a mess.
Me too.
So that is a total picture of my day so far, right?
Yes. You and me both. You and me both. Oh, yes.
Oh, well, we are
Look at it.
super excited to share this gorgeous project with everyone today. Thank you guys for your patience in getting started. And we are going to be kicking off your Rory Satchel bag, Kathy.
Fun bag. It was a great project. I actually I need to get another one. I want to make another one because you got this one.
Yes, that's true. So we need to get one more. Well,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then to make sure everyone knows, we're giving away two of these this fall. So you have to enter to win our partner giveaways. I did post a link to that on the live description. So you can go into the description of this class today and be able to access the partner giveaways and enter to win. But I highly encourage you to do that. We're giving away two of these bags this fall, along with a sewing machine and an AccuQuilt Go cutter and
Just little things,
some other
right?
awesome stuff. Yeah. So, but this will be a great win too, right?
Oh, this
Uh,
is awesome. This was one of the funnest projects that I've done in a long time, and I really threw the kitchen sink at this one.
Oh, I loved it. Honestly, I have been showing that off everywhere I'm going, and it's just so fun to tell them how what an amazing artist you are because
Oh,
you did everything on it.
it was
Um, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We'll kind of take them through the quilting, and then this is several different parts. So bear
fun.
with us as we kind of switch in between each section. We can answer questions in between, but we'll go ahead and get started. How's that sound?
Sounds good to me, Stacy.
Especially since I'm so late. So thank you again for
It's
your patience, everyone.
it's okay.
All right, thank you.
Hi, welcome to my happy place. This is Kathy Clawson. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to start working on our Rory satchel bag. It is an Esther and product designed by them, but made by us. And obviously, this is just the opposite. So what we get with it is all of the felt pieces and all of the hardware. And you're going to be seeing it as we put everything together. The only thing that's not on it, embellishment, that's our job. We get the fun part. Isn't that awesome? Okay, so what I've got here is I went ahead and I found some fabric. I just love this fabric. It's an older fabric, but I had some left, and I want to see how I can incorporate that into this project. What I did on this is our flap, okay, and this is the inside of our flap. What I did is I put 16 reference lines on it, all meeting in the center, of course. And then I went ahead and I put a crosshair on the fabric after I put some Template Fuse on it. Now I want to talk a little bit about this thread that we're going to use for this part of the project. This thread is from WonderFil. It's Egyptian cotton and it's 12 weight, which means it's hefty. You're going to see it. You're going to notice it. It is going to be gorgeous. So let's go ahead and first get started with the round mandala in the center. I did put a tack in. You'll see that it's all set up for us. For this particular portion, I am using my circles on quilts. This was not planned. It just happened to come out at 3 inches, which is perfect. And I can't wait to show you how awesome this thread is. I'm going to stay right in the center. Few stitches, little micro stitches there. I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. I'm going to just clip these threads. Look at that. Is that awesome? I love it. I love that this thread is there, but not in your face there. You can see it. And I have just a 40 weight thread on the back. And it doesn't matter because this back isn't going to be seen anyway. So that is our step 1. Make our applique on here. Next, what I am going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bury this. I've got my self-threading needle. I'm going to bury it from the back side. Oh, okay, where's my thread? Oh my goodness, this is so good. It's hard to see the thread. There it is. Now, I'm going to give it a tug. When I do, you'll see that the top thread came up. Let me see how close I can get you on this. Because this really is a skill that's important. There's my top thread. I know that the colors are all similar. I simply have a gray 40 weight cotton thread in the bobbin. My fingers just didn't like that. And I'm going to put the needle into the loop. There it goes. There's my knot. My knot is on top of the fabric, but it's got about 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch of thread between the knot and the fabric. And that way, what I can do is run it through, pull the tail, and now that knot is buried within there. Nobody's going to know it's there. And it's nice and clean. So I'm leaving this tack in here for our next step. But isn't that gorgeous, guys? You know, if you wanted to do a little mini spinifex in there or something like that, it certainly would enhance what we're doing here. So I'm going to go ahead, put you on pause. I'm going to grab my next items and I'm going to explain our next set of processes and we'll move on from there. Okay, so we are back. What we're going to be working with is the new 5.5-inch strand of 1-inch pearls. We are going to do a design that's a little unconventional with it. What you're going to see is I did switch to a lighter color thread because I do want this to show. I did leave the tack in, which is where we are going to start with it. I'm going to go ahead and put it in. Let me go over these lines first so that you understand them. Okay. The tack for our 5.5-inch strand of 1-inch pearls is right here. Remember, this is half of 5.5 or 2 3/4. And what we've got is our center, vertical center, and then we have 2 etched lines that are going to fall with our 16 reference lines. And this is how we're going to do it. It's a little unconventional, like I said, but you know what? I really thought it was kind of cool. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to line up this reference line, the slanted vertical reference line closest to me. And I am going to put my foot down. I am going to pull my thread up. Oh, and I didn't get it real good. Okay, let me try this again. Mm, The lighting is not perfect, but that's okay. We're going to do fine. There we go. And you can see this is that same 12 weight thread, which I absolutely love. It is so much fun. I have learned so much playing with different kinds of threads and how much they can enhance our work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to turn just a little light on. And I think that's going to work okay. There we go. Now we are ready. I'm going to put my needle down. What I'm going to do, I'm going to set it up this way so you can see it. I'm going to come around to the right and I'm going to stop here. Okay, we're really not going to be using that center, vertical center line anywhere in this particular design. So here we go. Coming around. And I'm going to stop when I get to that next vertical line. And there I am, foot down. Okay, I'm going to turn it now so you can see I have now gone ahead and put that first slanted vertical line that we lined up on reference line number 1. We're going to now line that up on reference line number 2. And what we're going to do, I'm going to move it this way. You can see we're going to come around and around the top, and we're going to stop on this on reference line number, well, I guess that would be 16. So around we're going to go and stop. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thread out of our way. I'm not going to bury it or anything right now. So we've stopped here. Now we're going to turn that template so the first reference line is where it needs to be. Again, on that first vertical, on that first slanted vertical line. Now I'm going to come from the top down. And we're going to keep going until we get to the next reference line, and we're going to stop. I'm only turning this so that you can see what I'm doing. Here is, let's call this our reference, our vertical slant 1, vertical slant 2. Okay. All right, here we go. All around we're going to go. It is a good idea to make sure that you clean your sewing machine, change your needle, get yourself ready for the project. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to twist the template until that reference line on our template comes and lines up with our reference line on our fabric. We're going to come here and we're going to stop right there. And we're going to do this all the way around. Take your time. You don't have to be in a hurry. As you can see, my reference lines are very light, but I can still see them okay. And you can use friction pens, you can use chalk, iron away chalk. The key here is, remember, this is wool. And you need to make sure that your iron temperature is lower than what we're accustomed to doing. We normally work with cotton, which can tolerate a real high heat. Wool cannot. I do like to use a pressing cloth. And all a pressing cloth is my grandmother's old linen dish towel. And I put it down and then I iron on that and the heat gets through, but it doesn't scorch. Keep on going here. Stop. And if it's easier for you while you're doing this to go ahead and to turn every reference line, by all means, you should. I find it easier, actually. I'm going to stop here. Line everything back up. Come around. And this is just going to make the perfect outer rim for the circle that we applicate in there. And if it's off by 1/8 of an inch, it's okay. Absolutely fine. Now I've got to tell you guys something. This particular template is so easy to use. I have the staple tape on the wrong side and it's not going anywhere. It's just basically doing exactly what I need it to do. Does that mean I'm advocating not using staple tape? Absolutely not. Use your staple tape, guys. Use your staple tape. But I noticed that I'm not having any issues, so I'm happy about that. Okay, we are almost all the way around here. Come over to that next reference line and stop with that needle down. Okay, we've only got a couple more left. And we're going to line ourselves up. And what you're going to notice is you do actually have a half of a circle on every reference line. And we're going to come over to here. And yeah. And we're going to go ahead and meet those 2 lines of stitching. Lift my needle up. Go ahead and take my template off. What do you think? I love it. It is a very different type of use of those. Let's see if we can pull you in here. Yeah. There we go. So you'll see it reminds me of the Renaissance age. They had collars that looked like that. Okay. So now we don't have to end there, okay? And actually, I don't think I'm going to end here because I think I want to do more.
All right. She wants to do more, right, Kathy? I don't see any questions yet, but I think that they're all loving it. So let's keep doing more. Here we
Okay,
go.
going on here. So we've got our little mandala in here. We have done our design with the 5.5-inch string of 1-inch pearls. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to stitch in a circle encasing the design that we put in with the strand of pearls. Again, I am using the heavier 12-weight thread, the spaghetti as it's known, and I've chosen all jewel colors. I'm going to be using a lot of different colors in this project. I want it to be somewhat colorful, but I want it to be rich colorful. And to me, the jewel tones with this medium dark gray, I thought would be perfect. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put our circles and straights tool on, and we're actually going to make another design here. To me, these new machines and those micro adjustments are really, really nice when you can get them correctly done. I'm so used to just working with the foot on a machine that doesn't afford me these nice little adjustments. And it works. Okay, I'm just going to get this far right here. And I want to take care of these ends on this thread, because I do want to tie it in or bury the threads. I don't want them showing, and I don't want to just stitch over the top of them. So I'm going to go ahead and make my overhand knot. And there is my poor little bent up needle that I like using. You could see how bent it is. One of these days it's going to break, and then I'm going to have to get a new one. Oh, goodness. And I want to show you how I do this. So I'm going to come back in. Which way am I going here? I'm going to come back in. There we go. Where the thread comes up, my knot is about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch off of the top of the fabric. I'm going to pull it through, and you see where I've got it pulled through. You won't see it on the front or the back. And grab those tails, pull them off out of the needle, and we're going to pull them through the fabric. There we go. The needle has been buried. You cannot see it, and everything looks great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trim the thread off here. And that is secured. There we go. All right, let's go back to stitching. We'll go ahead and put you back up here. We're almost to the end here. And when we get this in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put our circles and straights tool on, because I want to use one of my pretty stitches. Seeing as I normally work with my Singer 301, there aren't a lot of pretty stitches to work with. So I'm going to take advantage of it. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull my needle up, and then I'm going to pull my foot up, and I am going to go ahead and I am going to again bury these threads. I'm going to get you nice and close here while I bury this set. Now what has happened is we've got our bobbin on the bottom and our top thread here. I'm going to go ahead and give that a little tug and pull the bobbin thread up, and you'll see how easily that was done. Overhand knot, just like this. I'm going to take my needle. I'm going to pull that knot down about 1/4 of an inch off of the top of the fabric. Go ahead and put that into my self-threading needle. And now I'm going to bury that inside of this fabric. And here we go. Now there is our knot. Now we're going to give this a nice little tug. And now our knot is gone. And you cannot see where I buried it. Isn't that beautiful? If you're doing competition quilts especially, you will definitely want to hone that skill. Okay, I'm going to pull us back out a way. There we go. We can see what we've done. We've got our design, and now we've got just like a frame, like an echo. So I'm going to go ahead and set up the circles and straights tool, and then we're going to put another layer of thread in here, and it'll be the 12 weight, and we're going to make some fancy stitches on the next rotation. So hold on and we'll get ready and get that done. But we're going to attach our circles and straights tool. And what I'm looking to do specifically is to line up the needle alignment and line up the horizontal alignment. So I've got the vertical and horizontal. Now in this table, I've kind of got some hanging off in the breeze here, but it's not going to matter, because what's going to happen, as you will see, is this is about as far as I can go. And that means that my tack is only going to be here on number 7. So I'm going to take the original tack out that we had in here, and I'm going to eyeball this. I'm getting dangerous, eh? And I'm going to go ahead and just pull this back, and that brings us to about number 7. So I'm going to go like 6.5, and where I want to put this is, first off, I'm going to take the backing paper off. You definitely want to keep that handy. I put a little sticker on mine. That was so I wouldn't lose them. Right here you have your vertical center and your horizontal center. And this is the tack or the pin that you're going to go ahead and put your piece of fabric on. And we're going to line this up at the increments that we want it. So if I want to do 6.5, I'm going to line my vertical line at the 6.5 section right there, 6.5, making sure my horizontal line lines up on this line. Okay, just give it a little press. You don't have to give it a whole lot. Then what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we are going to go ahead and put that tack where we had our original tack. At least I think we're going to. There's the hole. I know it's there because I can see it. The question is, can I keep my eye on it, right? There we go. And now it should come up in exactly the center of our mandala here. And I might have to do a little tweaking. That's okay. There it is. It's come almost. Oh, guys, it's so close. I just need to move it over about 1/8 of an inch. Can you believe it? About 1/8 of an inch. There we go. Okay, I'm going to hold on to this. Now what I want to do is I want to run this around and make sure that I've got it placed properly, which I do. You can leave it like that, or you can put this back on. I opt to put it back on. Reason being, I'm a klutz. Okay, that's just me. It's okay. I readily admit to it. And I don't want to accidentally put my finger on there. That tack is sharp and it will hurt. Through here, I have big hands. Big hands make it a little more difficult. There we go. When you want to thread a machine. And there we go. Now, ideally, this will come off the way it's supposed to. It looks good to me. We could put it on a spool or on a bobbin too, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this thread up. I do like to have my thread on top when I get started. And here we go. I take my time. I definitely want to take my time. My spool is feeding beautifully. You guys, this is working. I'm so excited. Got a lot of thread back here. Just gonna go ahead and take some of it off. There we go. Now remember, this is the inside of our flap. So this is going to be something we're going to see, but not everybody is really going to be seeing it. But we still want to make it special for ourselves. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to quit talking and I'm just going to let this work and I am going to speed up the video, not the stitching, okay? And I'll just get back here when we get to the beginning. Okay, we're coming to the end. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these threads and I'm going to get them so that they won't be stitched over into the other side of my zigzag stitch here. I'm going to watch very carefully. And I do believe that's perfect. All right, guys, we got this really very, very close to where we want it. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this thread and pull it out. There we go. And this thread just stitched up beautiful. Remember, this thread is available through WonderFil. So I'm going to go ahead, take this off of our Circles of Straights tool. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bury my stitches. Okay. And we will meet you back here with the rest of what we're going to do on the inside for decoration, and then we'll get the outside of our bag started.
All right. So I have to say, I loved so much, Kathy, that you use the decorative stitches and the special stitches that you can do on your sewing machine, because I don't know that we always think about that, but that is one of the joys of using the circle sewing tool.
It is. It
Is
is.
that you can really take advantage of some of those stitches that are available. So that's so fun.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, no questions yet. You're doing so great. They don't even need to ask questions. Uh, but I will go ahead and post another link so you can enter to win this amazing bag and a whole lot more here shortly.
Well, our next step is going to be to work on the gusset of our Rory satchel bag. The gusset is the side piece that goes in, so you can see how wide the bag is actually going to be from front to back. And this is a good size gusset. When I measured it, I came up with 5.5 inches. So what I did was I drew a vertical center line at 2 3/4 inches. And then I also measured from the bottom of the stitching here to the bottom of the bag, the gusset, and that came out to 7 inches. So I went ahead and at 3.5 inches, I marked my horizontal center. I then put 16 reference lines in, and we're working with a pin. Now the template we're going to work with on this gusset is the 3.5 inch wreath with echo 2. Here is the wreath, here is the tack for the wreath, and here is the echo. What I want to show you is just how easy this template is to stitch out and how beautiful it will look when it is stitched out. So, move stuff around here. Now, the thread I've chosen to use is WonderFil thread, and it is the Tutti Frutti, I believe. And it is an Egyptian cotton, and it is kind of a lime green and yellow and very bright thread. Very bright. Now, if you want to use a heavier thread on this, you can. The only concern that I had with a heavier thread going back and forth over them, my machine didn't handle it well. I'm using a Singer 301. If you have a modern machine, it probably would do much better. Okay, here we go. We're going to line up the vertical center. We're going to start at A, which is right here, come all the way down to B and back to A. And then we're going to turn our template and we'll be at A1. So that's confusing, but let's go ahead and do it. Okay, start at A. I'm going to go ahead and pull my thread up. Now, I suppose you could start at B and go over to A and back to A1 when you turn your template to. This is just, for some reason, this is the way I chose to do it. And it worked for me. So I'm going to stick with what works for me, okay? So stitch in place. And off we're going to go. And you'll see that nice bright thread is going to be very noticeable. And I should have turned this so you can see it better. And there we go. and we're stitching over it twice so that the thread color is really going to come out. Now, the way we're going to turn the template, oh, there we go. We're right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the template to the left, line it up with reference line number 16. And what that's going to do is bring me right where I need to be to come down and come back up to A. And I think what I'm going to do is go to A, down to B, and back up to A so that everything is double stitched. So there's my first stitching with A. My foot just let loose. I'm going to come back to B. And back up to A. And stop there and twist my template. Now what that extra stitching is doing is it's giving me a real clear delineation on the felt. Okay, and this is our last wreath blade. And this is going to close the design. Now, if it doesn't close it up perfectly, and I didn't up here on purpose, because I want to show you if it's off a little bit, how you can fix that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop at the top, and I'm just going to go ahead and line that up. And now I'm able to realign it so that everything lines up perfectly. Is that cute or what? I'm loving this. This is the perfect size for the gusset. I've got a little surprise on what we're going to do in the center too. So the first thing that I want to do is go ahead and clip my threads, bury them, which is so easy to do, just an overhand knot. I use a self-threading needle, which is really awesome. And make my knot up off of the fabric by 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. And clip some of that thread, it's awful long. And then I'm going to thread my needle. You do not want your knot right on the surface of the fabric, because if you do, what's going to happen is you won't be able to bury it. Okay, so now I've run my thread through the felt. What you're going to notice is here's the knot. Now it's gone. Okay, and we'll do that on the back side with the others, with the end of the stitching. I'm going to go ahead, grab my bobbin thread, pull up my top thread. And the reason that I do it on the back and the front is so that I don't end up with both knots in the same place. There it is. A quick overhand knot. Pull the thread tail through. Now I've got a loop made. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cinch it down on the needle 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch off of the top of the fabric. I'm going to go ahead and run that through the fabric. Take the needle off. There we go. Good on you. And now we can just go ahead and push that knot in by pulling it. Okay. So now you notice I left the tack in, and the reason I did is because we are going to use the echo with our wreath. Now the echo, as you can see, is going to line up a little differently. Where we want the echo to line up is we want this line to line up where the two wreath blades meet. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull my bobbin thread out. Take it to the top. Put my needle back down. Take my one stitch in place. And I'm going to follow the template. And this is when you really want to trust the template. The template is right. It's just not lined up the way we are accustomed to templates lining up. In, twist. Make sure your needle is down before you move everything. There we go. You'll see how it keeps lining itself up perfectly. And basically, we're going from reference line to reference line. If it's a little short, go ahead, take an extra stitch. It's not going to hurt anything. Right here, I think I need about a half a stitch. And I believe this will be the last one. Yep. And we're going to end right where we started. And if we need an extra stitch, go ahead and take one. There, I just did some micro stitching, so I wouldn't have to go through and bury those threads. There we go. Isn't that adorable? I love the new templates we've got in the WonderFil Elevate box. There we go.
Okay, we are ready for our next section here. We're having so much fun here, Kathy. So much
I'm
fun
loving
quilting.
it. Yeah, I love it. It really makes me want to get that next project going.
Yeah,
We're
it's
back, and
fun.
what we're going to do is we are going to be working on the front flap of the bag. Now, we've already done the inside of the front flap, which will be attached shortly, and we've done the gussets. So what we're going to use is 16 reference lines, and we're going to start with a 3.5-inch wreath. Set it in. Our tack has to be, of course, in the center. We're going to start at A, go down to B, and back to A1, Then we're going to turn and go down to B and back to A1 and turn. Let's go ahead and get started. The thread I have in here is WonderFil's spaghetti thread, and it is a 12 weight thread. So it's nice and hefty, and it will be noticed against this beautiful gray felted wool. I'm going to go ahead and I have a regular 40 weight in the bobbin. And here we go. Start at A, go down to B, get my finger out the way here, and come back to A1, and then we will go ahead and we will turn our template. One stitch in place. Take your time. Nice and smooth. This is like sewing on butter. I absolutely love it. I can't wait to make some more of these projects. And stop on A1 right there. Okay, now we're going to go ahead, and what happens is when we turn our template, the foot automatically goes into that A spot. So here we go. Isn't that pretty? I love how they connect. And up we go to A1. Now, what you want, and I hope that you can see this clearly, you want this arrow to be pointing right at that needle. And then you will have the perfect amount to turn. And I'm going to rearrange this bag a little bit, and we're going to continue on. I'm starting on A, going down to B, and coming back to A1. And again, I'm making sure that my needle, that little arrow, is pointing right at my needle. And then when I turn it, I'm exactly where I need to be. The template is set up so that you will be successful with it. It looks awesome. And it also has the echo on it, which we used on the gusset. Oh, I'm so busy talking. No problem. There we go. I'll just move back. And we're going to come over here and take it again. Okay, I'm coming to the last rotation here, and I would kind of like to mention that with this particular thread, I am using a size 14 top stitch needle. The top stitch needle has a much nicer, larger eye, which will help this thread pass through it nice and smoothly. And there we go. So we've got the first component of our design for the front of our bag. And I love it. I love the color. It's just so natural for me. So what I'm going to do is go ahead, bury threads. I'm going to then come back with the second part of this design, and we will do some more stitching.
Okay, we are ready to do some more here.
Now that we've finished the inside circle design on our flap, and this is our outside flap, we're going to go ahead and use the 5.5 inch strand of 1 inch pearls. The tack placement is right here. And I'm going to go ahead and put that down. And we're not going to actually be making the strand of pearls. What we're going to be doing is going from line to line and coming down and stopping at the next line. Let me show you what I mean by that. And put my foot down. Here my line is in line. My line is in line with my template. So here we go. I'm going to put my needle down and put it back up. Lift my foot so I can pull up my bobbin thread. And I am playing bobbin roulette right now. So I'm not sure how long it's going to last. Okay, so there we go. Needle down. I am in line number 16. And I'm going to stitch on the top, ending at line number 2. My one stitch in place. I have found that rushing is not a good idea with the thicker threads. And there I'm going to stop at line number 2. Now I'm going to rotate my template. I'll come back a couple stitches. There we go. And we're going to come back around. Here's line number 3. And I'm going to stop when I hit line 4. There we go. Now we're going to turn again. Let me get this thread out of our way. This is line number 4, 5, 6. So we're starting in line 4. Going over line 5. Coming around to line 6, and we'll stop at line 6. Right there. You notice that I am turning my bag as I'm going. I have found that to work better with the heavy threads. Now, it could just be my machine too. I'm not really sure. But this does work better for me. These threads are gorgeous. And since I learned how to appropriately use them in my sewing machine, I am so glad that I could take advantage of using these threads and can't wait to get a bunch more colors. Again, this is WonderFil Spaghetti 12-weight thread. Okay, we're going to turn. You do want to take your time, especially when you're working with specialty threads. Make sure that you have the right needle. In this case, I've got a size 90-14 needle. And I have a top stitch needle so that I have a nice wide eye on it. Now you'll see I'm not exactly lined up here. I'm not going to worry about that right now. What I want to do is I want to get on this relatively straight area, just like we do with our clamshells. And I am going to stop with my needle down. I'm going to go ahead and make that adjustment. And that way we're going to come out just fine over here. Let me see. There we go. Yeah. And nobody will be able to even discern the difference in the width. And there we are. We have completed our second circular design. outside of our first one. And what we're going to do is we're going to add some painting embellishment on here. And I'll get this cleaned up and ready, and then we'll start our next video with the embellishment of the paint. Okay, so what we've done is we've put our first two elements on here. I'm going to, no, I changed back to the gold thread, which is the one I used in the center. Again, this is a 12-weight thread. So it's going to be a little more noticeable, especially on the felt, because the felt is just so beautiful to work with. But it does tend to sink the thread down just a little bit. So I find the 12-weight works much better. We still have 16 reference lines on here, but at this point, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be finishing off the motif with just a circle around the outside to enclose it. And for that, I'm using my circles on quilts, and I am using a 6-inch at this point. So let's go ahead and get that stitched on here, and then we'll go into our next process. This is just such a fun project to be working on. Now, if you wanted to, what you could do for this pass is instead of putting your circles on quilts, you could go ahead and put your circles in straights tool on and choose one of your heavy or your decorative stitches, and that would work well also. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, oh, I got a mess back here, guys. I'm going to get this mess cleaned up here, and then I'm going to tie off my ends, and I will meet you back here as soon as I get set up for the painting portion. Our next step that we're going to do with our motif that we've completed here, which you don't need to go any further than this if you don't want. I choose to, just because I like to. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be adding some textile paint. And very similar to what we did on the gussets here. And what I use to do that is the jackfruit textile colors. These are for natural or synthetic fabrics. They're permanent, washable, dry cleanable, non-fading. They have medium body, semi-transparent, and soft to the touch. What you can do with just a few different of these paints is you can go ahead, if you want it a little darker, you can add black. If you want it a little lighter, you can add white to it. It comes in a lot of different colors. I don't have them all, that's for sure, but I've got a few. So let's go ahead and take a look here. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a brown ochre. And then I'm going to go a little lighter with the raw sienna. And a little darker with raw umber. And these are paint colors that most artists will be able to relate to. So I like to put the lightest on first and then work towards the darkest. It seems to work best for me. And quite honestly, not all of these, this is one that has been opened. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and they're all sealed when you get them. And I'm just going to go ahead and take this off. and put it in my little paint tray. There's a lot of paint on there, believe it or not. Actually, probably more than we're going to need. And I'll clean up my mess here. Okay, so I've got just a little brush. I call it my scrub brush because it has the chisel tip to it, but the bristles are quite stiff, so they work real well with the paints. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to start. I'm going to be very careful not to get the paints on the stitching. That to me is the most important part. And I'm just going to, what you're going to see is how the felt draws in the paint. There we go. This is another reason I really like this brush, is because it does give me a lot of control. Kind of like painting around a doorway. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do one here for you. And then we're going to stop the recording because I don't think you want to sit here and watch me go through all 16 rotations. It can get a little boring. There we go. Now you'll see how beautiful this design is going to stand out. And there we go. And we're just going to keep on going from one to the next to the next. And what's nice is these are shadable. And I'm not going to lie to you, this does take some time. But to me, it's relaxing time. And it's always fun to see what happens when we add different elements to our quilting. Looks like I got a bunch there. Yet I'm trying to avoid the stitching. And this is why I call it my scrub brush. It's because I can scrub that color on there and it will look beautiful. Okay, so now it's kind of there. And it is a pretty addition. But what we're going to do is we're going to go a step further, okay? Maybe even two. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the next darker color that I've chosen. And this one has not been open yet. So I'm going to go ahead and take this off, set it in my paint palette, because that really is a lot of paint on there. A little bit goes a long way with these paints. And this is going to be my next darkest color, as you can see here. Well, goodness. Okay, there we go. Close enough. And now I'm just going to come around the edges with the next darkest color and towards the center. And that's going to give us a real nice 3D effect starting. Turn this over. There we go. on the side, not all the way to the top. And that is our second color. Brings it in just a little bit. And we're going to open up our third color, which again has not been opened yet. Just gonna go ahead and shake it up a little bit. Going to take top off. Hey, I'm really making a mess here, guys. I am sorry. It's not normally quite this messy. I'm making it worse than it needs to be. And that's because I didn't use my head and open up my bottles beforehand. Let me get this cleaned up right away. There we go. I don't want it getting onto my fabric. All right, so here I'm just going to take a little bit of the darkest color, and I'm just going to kind of scrub that in as well. There we go. And just bring it out to how it would look naturally. And it. And there we have our little bit of a flower here in our design. So I'm going to go ahead and finish all of that through, and then we will be back and we will do some more. Okay, we're back, and what I've done is I've gone ahead and painted in all the areas that I wanted to. Now, if you want to do that, that's fine. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. It's a personal choice. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill in the center with French knots. And again, this is a personal decision. You are more than welcome to do it or not to do it. If you do not know how to make a French knot, oops, lost my hands there a minute. I'll be happy to show you. It's one of the simpler um, embroidery methods. So you're going to pull your thread up, and I've got 2 layers of the spaghetti thread, a lighter yellow and a darker yellow. I've got my thread up. I'm going to wind it 3 times around my needle, put my needle back down close but not in the same hole, and pull it through. There we go. And this small area will fill up extremely fast. You do not have to put them one on top of another. You just put them close enough so that they'll touch each other. That's the way I like to do it. And you can see it will fill up quickly. So the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to do some veins inside of these petals here, the light blue ones. And then we're going to do some fancy stitching on the flap portion of this. gives us a chance to use some of those decorative threads that we have, and we can make awesome things out of it. Now, if you have 12-weight embroidery thread, what you can do if you want to use it on your sewing machine is you can fill a bobbin. There we go. Sorry. You can fill a bobbin and run it in that way on the top of your machine. So you definitely have more opportunity for more colors of thread, types of thread, etc., like that. And it's just really nice sometimes to use a thread that's a little different. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to fill this in, then we're going back to the machine and we're going to do some fancy stitches. And then we're going to make our designs on the back of the bag. And then we will be ready to put it together. So we'll meet you back here shortly. Okay, so what I've done here is I've gone ahead and put my little French knots in here to represent the center. Gives it some depth, some dimension. Now, if we want to, we can also give the flower here, the outside flower, just a little more detail. And that can be done one of two ways. So it can be done with a really tiny paintbrush and some black paint or dark brown paint. And let me show you how that can be accomplished. Oops, not the one I thought. Yeah, this isn't the one I thought it was. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and there it is, the dark brown. I have so many dark browns, it's hard to tell which one I want to use. Okay, there we go. So I can grab my littlest paint. Well, it's not my littlest, but it's a very, very little paintbrush, as you can see. We're just going to go ahead and dip it. And then we're going to, seems counterintuitive, we're going to wipe it off on one side only like this. And then we're just going to go ahead and make some squiggly lines that come out from the center. That's one way of doing it. I'll be honest with you, that's a hard way of doing it. There is also another way we can do it. And I like it. It's a cheating way to do it, but it's okay because it goes really fast. Sharpie, permanent, ultrafine point. And what we do is just set it down and come out from that and just make some veins in the flower. It looks more realistic, but more so as it also reinforces the shading down here on the bottom. And it does not take long. And the nice thing about it, you don't want to be straight. You want it to be real squiggly. So it's no matter how you do it, it's right as long as it's a squiggly line. And I think we're all very good at doing squiggly lines. All done. And let me pull you nice and close. See which way I need to go here. And we're going to check, make sure we're focused. So now you get a good look at what we've built. Maybe we should bring you back to see the whole thing. There we go. There we go. I love it. I absolutely love it. Now the next step I'm going to take is we're going to do some stitching and some couching coming down on all around the outside of this flap. So stick with me. I'm going to go from my cutting table. Obviously, you can see that's where I'm doing this. And we're going to move everything over to the sewing area. What we have done here is I am back on the sewing machine. I put in some Glamour thread. Glamour thread is a 12 weight. And I've set my machine to a high zigzag, which means it goes back and forth a lot. I put my feed dogs back up. I put this line in right across where I want my stitching to end because this is the end of the flap. So I am going to pull my bobbin thread up right there. And we're going to be ready to go. Okay. Put my needle down. And here we go. Again, with the Glamour thread, with these specialty threads, I like to loosen up the top tension a little bit. I also like to slow my machine down a little bit. I don't want to be going too fast. I'm also going to put some of WonderFil's 12 weight spaghetti thread in different colors in the machine so that I can use some of my decorative stitches. And what the grid glider is doing is it's helping me to keep this straight line going into the machine straight, although curved. If we decided to make some wobbles in it, that would make it interesting. And we certainly could do that as well. And when I get down to the bottom, I am going to use the tie-off feature on my machine. If I remember which one it is, I've not used it before. Okay, so I'm down very close to the edge. There we go. That's the tie-off feature. Lift my needle up. And let's take a look at what we've got. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut this thread right there and this one in the back. And we have this nice little line of embellishment going on. And I'm going to take different threads, as I said, and use my decorative stitches. So let me go ahead and take this thread off. Thread my needle. And now comes the fun. I get to pick out one of my stitches. Let's see. We have so many now. I think we will do something. This one looks fairly simple. And it's really wide. Okay, here we go. I'm going to put my foot down here. I need to adjust it just a little bit. Put my needle up. Lift my foot. Here we go. We're all ready to start. I can't wait to see how this looks. Again, my grid glider is helping me to keep things straight as I move down with these stitches. And I will go ahead and speed up the video. Okay, we're coming to the end when I get what I think is a complete rotation of the design, which is going to be coming up right here, right there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lock my thread, pull my needle up, pull my foot up, and let's see what we got. And you guys saw what I was doing there. I was going in nice, easy waving motions, which is actually adds a lot of interest as we're working. See how that looks. Okay, I'm going to pull it away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue playing with different threads and different stitches, and we're going to fill the front of this bag up, and then we'll be back to do the design on the back of the bag, the Rory Satchel bag. Okay, we're back, and what I've done is I've gone ahead and painted in all the areas that I wanted to. Now,
Here's
if you
another
want embellishment that I put on using the glamour thread, I love glamour thread. Here's another embellishment that I put on using the glamour thread. I love glamour thread. It's a 12-weight thread. So what I'm using in here is a 116 top stitch needle with WonderFil's glamour thread. Glamour thread is a 12-weight, and it's great for embellishments like what we're going to do here. Now you can see I've already had some fun stitches put on here, and I'm just going to do a simple zigzag. It's going to be a wide one. And we are going to, let me see here. Yep, there we go. I want to make sure I was all set. Now, you don't have to go in a straight line all the time. Even though we have our feet dogs up and we're working with a regular foot, we can make curves with that. And let me show you how easy that is. Okay, there we go. Gonna kind of take a couple stitches here. With the glamour thread, it's a 12-weight. I do like to loosen the top tension just a little bit. And as I said, the top stitch needles are, to me, it's non-negotiable. Okay, the reason why is that the hole or the eye of the needle is quite a bit larger on a top stitch needle. And so it allows this thread to come through very nicely. I also do like to slow down a little bit. It's not a race. So what I find is with the specialty threads, slowing down is really just going to help things. I am going to show you how we're going to use our decorative thread ruler foot. I have the foot on, and it has a little cutout in the center. And what that little cutout does is it has a little piece of acrylic with room for the needle and room for the decorative thread to go through. And in this case, I'm just using a fine wool yarn. I'm using a basic 40-weight thread that matches the yarn. I have a 40 weight thread in the bobbin, and I have a zigzag stitch on, and it is at 1.2. Now I did test all this out before, and so I know that it works. What I'm going to do is a straight line down here. We'll come back and do a straight line down here, and then we'll do some decorative stitching in the center, okay? So here we go. We have our foot up, or our feed dogs up, I'm sorry, not our foot. And the key, I think, to getting this done is just make sure that you take your time, you know what direction you're going in, keep your thread up just before that needle, because that will help you get to the right point. And you can see I've taken off in a direction here that I didn't intend to. So I'm afraid I might be doing this one over again. Or we could make it part of the design. Let's see how it looks. We'll get all the way through here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to snip that off. And there's the reason. I had all kinds of stuff sitting on top of my fabric. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're just going to come off here. I'm going to do a couple small stitches in place. And then I'm going to go ahead and lift my needle and lift my foot. And you can see I did get it kind of wavy, but you know what? That's kind of cool. I like it that way. We're going to leave it that way. So now I'm going to just trim this off at the end. There we go. I did those retaining stitches in there, remember? I'm going to also trim it off at the beginning. I did tie off my stitches in the beginning. And there we go. I'm going to go ahead and put a few more in. That was so easy. I really enjoyed that. So let's make sure we've got our bobbin thread cut though. There we go. And I'm going to need to put my wool back in. And it's actually amazing how easily this goes in. There we go. It's just easy, piece of cake. It amazes me, actually. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and wind some of that out here. Let's come back here. And I'm going to see what exactly it is that I want to do in that area between these two. Okay, whoops, needle down. There we go. We're going to put a couple of stitches in there before we take off. I don't care if it's perfect. I don't really want it to be perfect, to be honest with you. I kind of want it to go a little cattywampus at times. And that's how I do it. You could go ahead and turn everything. And this will show. I'm going to stop and pull out some more of my wool. And over to this side. And now I'm going to go ahead and tie those off. Lift my needle, my foot, and well, come my foot, up you go. There we are. Kind of like it. It's kind of cool. So let's go ahead and do this for this whole section here. This is where the top of the bag is. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and advance this. This is variegated wall. And so I'm going to advance it to get it at another color. And right about here is where it starts turning. So I'm not going to pull my thread, but I'm going to pull the wool only, okay? And yeah, is it a little wasteful? Yeah, I guess it is a little wasteful. But what I want, as far as the outcome, will be worth it, I think. And I can use this in another place at some time. It's actually quite a long piece. Okay, here we go. There is where it's going to change colors. And I'm going to go ahead and put it down here and my needle down, and I'm going to tie it off, couple stitches in place, and here we go. Now this time I think what I'll do is I'm just going to stop with my needle down, okay, and I'm going to lift my foot and turn everything. First this way, I'm going to take a few stitches. There we go. And now we're going to go in this direction. I need to make sure everything is picked up like that. There we go. Remember, I've got that big section of thread that I'm picking up for later, okay? Okay, and there we're almost at the edge. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and tie off, lift my needle, lift my foot. And there we go, just a really cute little embellishment. Nothing overly fancy. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and clip this one off too. And isn't that adorable? That's just going to sit on top. Now, if you wanted to, you could take a few buttons and put them in here too. Okay, and I'll see what I've got around here for buttons, and maybe we'll go ahead and do that. So the next portion of the bag is going to be the back of the bag. So what we need to do is we need to go ahead and make all the measurements and figure out exactly where we need to be. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my markings on here for the next design that I plan to utilize. So we will be back and see you shortly. Next, we're going to tackle the back of the bag. And what I've done is put a 7.5 inch space from in the center of where the back would lay. And that can be found on the instructions. So what I've got here is I have my new 5.5 inch 4JNT 1, and this is the number 1 template. I have staple tape on both sides because we're going to flip this. And the reason we're going to flip this is because if we use both sides, we're going to end up getting a little divot here because we have to jump over from one side to the other. Whereas if we use them on one side, everything is going to remain very, very smooth. And let me show you drawn out what I mean by that. This is what I mean. This area is not going to have any jog in it because of the way we're stitching it. Now, the first one we stitch, we have to stitch in its entirety. Make sure when you do, your little inside pocket is definitely not underneath. We're going to line the template up vertically and horizontally. And I'm going to go ahead, put my foot down, and draw my bobbin thread up. I'm going to check my machine. There we go. Okay, everything is good. Draw my bobbin thread up, and there we go. So you know I like to keep it under the template when possible so that it doesn't get messed up in there. Ooh. And here we go. One stitch in place. I am using WonderFil's confetti for this one. I was going to use spaghetti, but what I think would happen is I was afraid it was going to get too thick in the center because we're going to be going back to the center so many times on this. And down we come. Now what I've done is I've got little arrows here on the third line from the top. And what I'm going to do on each time is I'm going to twist my template until this arrow touches the tip of this rotation. And I'm keeping my center, my bottom of my foot in the center. So we're going to come up, we're going to stitch to here and back down again. And we're going to do that 5 times. So this is number 1. Don't worry about how long this takes you. Just enjoy it. And back down. And what you're going to see is your thread is definitely going to stand out because you are double stitching on each of these. Whoops, I got off my center a little bit. That's okay though. And the other thing you're going to notice is that your template is going to get shorter and shorter. Not the template, but your stitches are not going to come to the bottom of the template. Don't worry about that either. When we do this in the opposite direction, I think it'll be a lot clearer. Okay, here's number 2. Extra stitch on top and come back down. And you see I'm ending up in the center again. Going to twist it one more time, and each time I do, I'm pushing that foot further up into the template. And let me see how well you're seeing this. There, that hopefully is going to give you a lot more visibility. This is our 3rd time. Remember, my feed dogs are down. We're going to stop. And we're going to turn again. Okay, this is our 4th time stitching up. And you could do this with the regular size JT&T Spinifex also. I love the little one though, it's so cute. And this will be our final one, number 5. And down and back up. Now what I'm going to do, just to show you how easy this is I'm just going to go around in a circle. I'm going to go around flipping my template. There we go. So now I'm going to go ahead and take this off, and you can see, isn't that gorgeous, guys? I love this. Absolutely love this. So what I'm going to do is this line next. So to do that, I want to take my template and flip it. Flip is the word I was going for here. Okay, so words don't come easy. Now, I only have a single rotation on the first one here. And I am seriously thinking I should make 2 rotations on it so that the thread weight is the same all the way through. So I'm going to go ahead and make 2 rotations here. I'm going to go back and make a second one over here. I want to make sure I'm still in my center, which I'm probably about 1/4 of a stitch off. So I'm just going to move that back. There we go. And stitch 1 in place, and off we go. Hesitation stitch at that center. And again, I'm going to go ahead and make that second stitch. How about second rotation is what I meant to say. Okay. I love consistency. I really truly believe consistency is the key in this. You know, if you're going to make a mistake, that's okay. Make it consistently, and that's a design choice, right? Okay, so now I'm going to make sure that the tip of this arrow on my template touches the tip of my rotation. And I'm going to come up and I just came off. I'm not going to worry too much about that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go in here and take that portion out. And here's my second line of stitching. And you won't notice much difference between the second and the third line of stitching. That is the one very glorious thing about template work. Okay, so I'll go in afterwards and I'll take this little line of stitching right here out. It's not a big deal. It really isn't. It'll take me 2 shakes of a lamb's tail and we'll be all set. So here's line number 2. You can see why I was concerned about using the 12 weight thread here. Line number 3. Okay, we're doing good so far. That middle is starting to build up a bit. Line number 4. And what's going to happen is we have 2 choices here. We can either allow our rotation line number 5 to come over here and encroach, or we can leave the vertical ones at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the horizontal ones at 4. My thought is to go ahead and make the 5th one and let it encroach on there. Okay, let's keep on going here. What I said, I got a call. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rotations here, and 1, 2, 3, 4 rotations here. Fifth rotation is going to cross over a little bit. I'm fine with that. So I'm going to go ahead and put the fifth rotation in. And remember, what we do to get there is we're going to bring our template down until, okay, so here is going to be my fifth rotation. And it is going to come in and impede on the one next to it, encroach on it, whichever word you like better. And it's going to give us just, it's not going to come over far. It's just going to give us a nice, very small secondary design there. But I really love it. Now, you don't have to do them one by one all the way around. If you'd like to do them all in one direction, then come back, you certainly may. And look, isn't that gorgeous? I am just absolutely loving this. So I'm going to go to the next one. Go ahead and put that in. And you'll notice I have my full side on here. So I'm going to go ahead, line up my arrow with the tip of the previous rotation. And here we go. Again, 5 times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and quit talking. And I'm going to speed up this video so you can see me stitching a little bit of it. And then we'll be back. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish all of the rotations, and then we will be back to start putting the gussets together and then the bag.
All right. So we did have a question that came in, Kathy, and I thought you might be able to answer that. They asked what size of needle were you using when you were sewing on the decor and shimmer thread?
That one I use a 116 needle. And I like to use the top stitch needle because the eye is bigger on it.
Excellent.
So yeah, it'll help cut down on that friction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I will say that I think we are all out of time for today. So I think we did a whole lot of quilting. If you are an Elevate Club member, then you have the opportunity to get into your club box and be able to access your university class. You just have to go onto the university. We've already registered you. So all you need to do is sign in under the email address that you got your club box from, and you will be able to watch the final videos in assembly for this project. But we absolutely love that you were able to join us today and watch the amazing Kathy do all of these gorgeous embellishments. Thank you so much, Kathy. And so we'll look forward to having you kind of finish that within the university. But wow, absolutely amazing. Like you said, you did a little bit of everything on this bag.
Yeah, definitely did. Definitely did.
I love
It,
it.
it was fun. It was so much fun.
Yeah. Well, we love sharing everything that you create because you really do pull from a lot of different um kind of genres and quilting techniques to be able to make these things a little bit more exciting. So excellent. Well, thank you again. Have a wonderful day, everyone. I did post a link so you could take advantage of signing up to win this amazing bag and a whole lot more, including the Janome Skyline sewing machine, along with AccuQuilt Go Cutter. We've got bags, we've got stabilizer, we've got amazing cuddle fabric, new quilting cuddle fabric, and the 2 of these Rory satchel bags that you can do your own twist with, or follow along Kathy and do all of this amazingness. So we'll look forward to seeing what you create, and have a wonderful day sewing. And we'll have more exciting classes for you again tomorrow. We're going to be diving into an autumn leaf class with Melissa, and previewing this amazing Thanksgiving cactus class by Shauna. So, yeah, we're going to be keeping you busy tomorrow as well.
Awesome.
Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful afternoon.